Welcome to our new series, Caribbeans in Britain. My name is Floriane McBain.
And I'm Ryanolds.
We plan to cover the lives, aspirations, businesses and organisations of the Caribbean communities living in Britain and their links with back home.
We'll also bring some of the news and views that's out there to the VSM TV platform. We start with the news first, and then we move to an in-depth discussion. And our special guest in the studio today is Kubara Zamani, who's a journalist, editor, and poet. Welcome, Kubara.
Greetings.
Our first headline for today is Grenada Prime Minister confident of re-election. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell has predicted that his ruling New National Party, NNP, will be victorious in the next general election, constitutionally due in 2023, brushing aside suggestions that he may call a snap election in Grenada.
In fact, Dr. Mitchell, who has led the NNP to consecutive clean sweeps of the 15-member parliament in the last two general elections, has indicated that the new leader of the party will be decided by supporters within the coming months. I think that suggests that he might well be planning a snap election. What do you think, Kubara?
It could be. I mean, if he's rearranging how the party's operating and things like that. Although you don't know nowadays because parties are kind of looking at what's happening with COVID. Some of them are using it as an excuse to put things, to delay things, whereas other ones are looking and seeing if they're getting good ratings for how they've been operating, then they try and hold a snap election. So it can go either way.
A lot of these countries, I mean, Grenada included, they've kind of been pummeled by COVID because the tourism industry has kind of gone down. How are things playing out in islands like Grenada, do you think?
Well, I mean, in a lot of cases, I mean, on those islands, a lot of it is either tourism or a bit of, Grenada's known as like Spice Island.
That's right.
But, I don't think that their economies are really built for doing anything. If they've got some natural resources, but then they don't get a lot of money from those natural resources. So it just depends. I mean, it is really, a country trying to see what it can make. But most of the countries have fallen back on tourism. Right.
Okay. I mean, I'm thinking also that in America they have 2 terms and then that's it for a leader. It looks as if Dr. Mitchell plans to run and run.
He's had a lot. Is it time to go now, would you say, particularly with him being 75 years old?
I guess the people of Grenada will decide.
They will, as he said himself, they will decide. Okay, so for our next story, the most powerful Caribbean passports in 2022. Barbados continues to lead the region in having the most powerful passport in the Caribbean for 2022.
It's quite an achievement. According to the 2022 Henley Global Passport Index ranking, Barbados is number 1 in the Caribbean and is positioned globally yet again at number 23, with visa-free access to 161 countries.
Special mention was made about Dominica, with Henley and partners noting that, as in past years, countries that offer residence and citizenship by investment programs do continue to perform strongly on the Henley Passport Index, with Dominica's recent waiver agreement with China seen by experts as a prime example of that success.
So the top 3 most powerful passports in the Caribbean are at number 1, Barbados, ranking globally at number 23, with visa-free access to 161 destinations, as we just said. At number 2, we have St. Kitts and Nevis, ranking globally at number 25, with visa-free access to 157 destinations. And the Bahamas, ranking globally at number 26, Kubara, with visa-free access to 155 destinations. Have you got a Barbados passport?
No, but I mean, obviously the last year or so, Barbados has been highly in the news.
True.
There's lots of things that have raised the profile, whether that be the like getting rid of the Queen as the head of state, but also because Rihanna's been like really kind of high up in business stakes. I mean, she hasn't done much music, people are complaining.
Oh my gosh, but Riri is a billionaire.
Who needs music when, you know?
But that has raised the profile of Barbados because her profile has gone up so high, and anything she touches, it's like there's a whole social media campaign, there's a high profile. Anytime you open the entertainment pages of anywhere, you'll see like she was out somewhere last night with somebody. So,
steady, steady. Hey,
and then, but also her business side as well. So, she's definitely somebody who, and then she does go back to Barbados for all the time. So people are seeing her there and knowing that that's where she's from. She hasn't kind of said, oh, I'm going to live in America or anything like that, really. She's kind of always back in Barbados. So that's, I'm not surprised that the island has had a really high profile. And that the leader as well, Dr. Motley, I have to laugh every time. It's the name of the doctor when I was growing up. Was a Dr. Motley as well. Okay. So even my own family were asking me, is she related to him?
Was she from Barbados?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't. But so she's obviously got, she's got a vision for the country, and she's determined, and she's stuck to that, and she's grown up in that as well. So her vision for Barbados is definitely to kind of push it as a destination, not just for tourism, but for business and for everything else like that. So,
would you have imagined that Barbados would have become a republic, Little England?
Well, it's one of those things, you can't always imagine something, you don't know what's going to happen, but when it does, it's like, wow, it really is. So I think it's positive.
Yeah, and I noticed Jamaica's not even on the list of the 10 most influential, most powerful passports, but Jamaicans know that anyway. If you travel on a Jamaican passport, it's like, it can be a bit difficult, so yeah, but...
That's interesting. Good.
That's
a nice little story there.
Okay, so... moving on to the next story, Averatech revolutionising tourism in the Caribbean through technology. A US Virgin Island-based tech company, Averatech, is on a mission to leverage technology to revolutionise the Caribbean tourism industry.
Yeah, that's right. In less than 2 years, the millennial-led startup has developed a suite of mobile apps aimed at enhancing the tourist experience while also mitigating the spread of the COVID-19 virus among the ongoing global pandemic.
Avera's CEO and co-founder Michael Pemberton says our company is dedicated to providing technological solutions to bridge what we've identified as the 3 pillars of tourism: government, vendors and tourists. So
you've been to the US Virgin Islands at all? Is
Me?
That way?
No, I haven't travelled.
Has your passport taken you there?
No. But technology is going to become important with tourism. Definitely, that's going to be, those 2 things are going to be like what's going to make people know about somewhere, and then also plan their trip there and what they want to do on their trip there as well. I think
absolutely. The point now is that you hardly need nothing is being done in the traditional way anymore.
Very true.
You book, on your phone. You book on an app. You book your destination. You do everything. So, and I guess the millennials. This is a millennial-led company, which means what? It's a what? 25-year-old, 15-year-old.
So they will definitely make sure that, because when you went to places before, it was like, well, you never knew if you were going to get an internet connection. You never knew if you were going to get your emails for 5 days, or you couldn't send anything. You only just went to the hotel. You couldn't go to the internet cafe to send anything. You'd have to go to a hotel. The internet cafes in some of those countries, you would just go to check your emails, see if you had any. Yes. But obviously what's going to be happening now is everybody, because of that push towards digital, all these countries are going to make sure that, people are able to upload files. People are able to upload, big images, videos, things like that. And, that's what the expectation is going to be, that you will be traveling using your mobile phone, I mean, they don't like, a lot of places don't like hard copy anymore.
No, your passport, check-in details, everything is going to be literally on your tablet or on your phone, isn't it? So
that's right. But I think what I like about this story as well is that the company's ethos is being created by them for us, with it being in the Caribbean, and then wanting for us as islanders to be able to capitalise on our own culture as well, which I think is really important.
Right. And it's all about prosperity. It's all about prospering the region. So that
Exactly.
sounds very good.
Indeed.
Wonderful. St. Lucia announced Vax Mass for 2022. So, are you ready we've just come out of Christmas 2021, and St. Lucia's already looking to Christmas 2022. And the Cabinet of Ministers there has decided, after several consultations, that Carnival 2022 will be hosted and dubbed the Vaxmas. Get it? Carnival 2022 in St. Lucia is based on approval from the Ministry of Health according to existing protocols.
The aim for the Vaxed Mass is to create a bubble to ensure the safety of everyone involved, the general public and carnival patrons alike, everyone participating, revellers, patrons, support staff and service providers must be fully vaccinated.
Dr. Ernest Hilaire, Minister for Tourism, Investment, Creative Industries, Culture and Information, says that as a carnival enthusiast himself, it is important to build on the hard work and dedication that started by the people who brought Carnival to where it is now. We have to ensure that we preserve the health of St. Lucians while creating an economic activity for our people to benefit from, according to Dr. Hilaire.
And with that, Carnival being a major part of tourism in St. Lucia, as it is with many of the Caribbean islands, it brings in thousands of visitors to the island. Dr. Hilaire says that a lot of people use the Carnival season to showcase their talents, and it is even more important after the 2-year hiatus to encourage them to continue doing so.
While Carnival will not take place in its usual form, every measure possible is being taken to ensure it keeps to its true spirit.
Strict protocols and guidelines will be implemented, and further plans will be announced at a later date to ensure the safety of everyone for Carnival 2022.
So I guess they're getting started early, Kubara. What do you think?
Well, I'm a bit concerned myself about the whole way that all these events are being framed within they're not just saying, oh yeah, that's temporary. It's almost like it's looking like that's how events are going to be in the future, that it's only going to be for, some say only for vaccinated, some say only for if you've had the COVID in the last 6 months. But it goes back to that whole thing of just, it's an opportunity for some people to shift how they do things and who they do it with, and to exclude certain sets of people as well. And I'm not really a big fan of all these events being well, they're only for you if you're vaccinated, because one of the problems that's coming with the vaccinations is that the efficacy of the vaccination only lasts for 2 months or 3 months anyway, so that means you're going to have to be getting vaccinated all the time, or you're going to be considered as unvaccinated, even if you've been vaccinated 6 times, but they say you're not up to date because you never took the 7th.
Well, the point is, I suppose, the bottom line, or the argument that the government here is making, the Department of Tourism, is that as COVID is something that people are going to have to live with, I guess they have to think in the long term and try and make their plans for how they're going to get their country moving and get their economy moving and get their culture moving without standing still. So it just sounds as if it's a contingency that is necessary.
Mm-hmm. When did Carnival become you can only have it within these restrictions? The whole point of Carnival was to overturn all those restrictions, to mock what your leaders say, to ignore them, to dress up like them, to parody them.
But surely, come
know.
on, this is a life and death. It is a life and death issue, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think
So it's not quite the same thing as it used to be, in the sense that if people are going to come together en masse, maybe this is, and mass, no pun intended, maybe this is where it's going to go everywhere, isn't it? If you think about what's happened recently in Australia with Djokovic not being able to compete, perhaps this is the way it's going to be with things like Carnival.
I just don't think that that's where we need to be going. That's, I just feel like, really, okay, if you have a problem with holding an event for the time being, then you say you've got a problem with holding the event. You can't manage it properly, right? That's a management issue. Mm-hmm. But it's not it's not a case of everybody must follow this. And because they're changing, the people who are making these instructions, these governments, these health officials, they're changing their mind every 2 weeks. 1 minute they'll tell you something lasts for 6 months, then they say it don't last for 6 months. 1 minute, you don't know. So what they could be, what they're telling people now, what people are enacting now, nobody has any consistency to even say that 6 months ago that's what they were told.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. Yeah, that's a really good point.
That is a point, but I guess the nature of the beast then is unpredictable, and so I guess they're probably thinking, what can we do to get our economy out of the doldrums?
But then the other thing that's happening as well is, like, some countries are doing some things and some countries aren't doing it. So some countries will fine you. Some countries say everybody must be vaccinated over 50. Some are saying everybody must be vaccinated over 18. Hong Kong says anybody that come anywhere near them, even in transit, must do 3 weeks quarantine. Some countries are saying, well, we haven't got the infrastructure to do all that. Countries might make some big announcement that they're going to do something, but, they haven't got the technology to police that, or they haven't, some people don't have, more people are switching to mobile phones, but mobile phone, people switching to that to get your money or to make savings. They're not switching to mobile phones for you to be tracked. That's not what they want.
Yeah,
well, I guess St. Lucia's just made, this is a decision they've made, and I'm not quite sure what the reaction is in the country, but it seems to be, they've started early anyway, so I guess by about September or so we'll know.
Maybe even sooner, and I think it'll be interesting because depending on what the decision will be, I will be interested to see what the other islands do as well. So as we know, we've got Carriacou and Trinidad and Tobago's carnivals are coming up in February, which is next month. I'm sure a decision would have been made. We don't know what that is, but with it being so soon, it's very unlikely that it will go ahead.
But here we saw a situation where people were so anxious to go out and play that they just wanted to... They wanted to get out of the house. They wanted to get out of lockdown. They wanted to get out of having to work from home. So people were very compliant.
Yeah.
So perhaps that's exactly what will happen in this scenario.
Yeah, but that's where governments kind of tell you, oh, do this and it's Freedom Day, do that and it's Freedom Day, do this and it's Freedom Day, and it's never fully Freedom Day because they're still the government. And they're still kind of like mismanaging. And they're still lying, and they're still telling you must stay in your house and we must party. And, they're still doing all their things that they want to do. And I'm somebody, I'll look at, okay, what is the consistency of what you are telling me based on proper, true evidence? Not like you come and tell me a statement today and think that I don't remember that you said the opposite yesterday. That's not really the kind of politicians I class as statespeople.
Well, so are you saying that this particular government has been giving irregular information or advice to its citizens?
I can't comment on the quality because I haven't been following them day to day. But some people are just, they just get told, do that, and they do it, or they get told, yeah, do that and we'll give you £50 million and they do it. I don't know, right? Because there's nothing consistent about, say, I mean, if you say we can't run Carnival this year, so we're going to run a small event, just say that. But don't kind of make out like, oh, everybody's got to be vaccinated. So once they start getting vaccinated, that means they have to be vaccinated eternally, because otherwise they'll be classed as unvaccinated. And the government hasn't made any statement where they just say that's only for this year and next year.
But I guess the correlation is really with their health service and how their health systems are managing. So it's not just a whim, I imagine. Anyway, thank you for your comments.
I can't speak for this. I can't speak for this. I don't know enough about the St. Lucia Health Service, but I know that most of the Caribbean, most of Africa, the numbers that there's a few countries in Africa like your Egypt and your South Africa, but the majority of them, the numbers that you're seeing are not the percentages and numbers that you're seeing in America, Britain, India, Brazil, even China. People go China, oh, COVID started in China. Nobody ever asks how many people have died of COVID in China.
We've gone very deep down the COVID rabbit hole, deeper than I had anticipated. But anyway,
yeah. Right. But in terms of if that's what the government says that they want to do, that's the best within their capacity and capability. Then obviously they do it, and you see how it pans out.
Yeah, absolutely, their government, their rules.
Absolutely,
and that's it.
Okay.
So there was one more story. Did you want to say something about this Jamaican skier?
Why not?
So Cool Runnings. We have Jamaica's first alpine skier is going to take part in the Winter Olympics. A really interesting story. Did you see something in the news about this?
I heard him being interviewed on the radio.
Yeah. So it's a 38-year-old called Benjamin Alexander, who's from England, and he's going to be representing Jamaica because he has a Jamaican father, an English mother. So he's you don't see too many black people taking part in the Winter Olympics, and so it's a wonderful breath of fresh air.
I know he only started 6 years ago, but there's a lot more black people doing skiing and those kind of things now, because I know there's even there's a black skiers group that go to.
I think there's several.
Where do they go to? Somewhere up in Switzerland. Yeah.
Great. Everybody will remember, I suppose the connection will be with Cool Runnings, the film, the Jamaican bobsleigh team, and the film that was made.
Well, you mentioned it when when I heard the interview.
That's right, and I think he met one of the team members, Dudley, as well. So yeah, I think it's quite inspiring. Absolutely. He's not expecting to be up there with the medals, but that's not the point to start with, is it?
No.
I know, it's just it's to be there. It's to show that this is what I'm interested in. It's just the same with surfing. There's lots of Jamaicans started taking up surfing and things like that, which that wasn't that was considered like some Trustafarians, is that what they call them? Yeah, what they call them anyway, right? That was considered something that they did. But but so there's lots more sports that black people are feeling confident to move into.
Yes, that's it. And of course you think about developments over the years recently with Formula One, of course, with Lewis Hamilton. Yep. He was robbed. And and of course the Williams sisters. I always think about that James Brown song where it says, I don't want nobody to give me nothing, just open up the door and I get it myself. So that whole idea of being able to come to the party,
that's right,
and being able to participate, I just think that's the most wonderful thing people need, is opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you ski?
No. But we had the dry course just outside my school.
Oh, okay.
Hill and Ski Slope.
Right.
They had. I never went up there.
I used to go up to the Cairngorms, but I can't ski. I used to take we used to take children. I used to do some volunteering where we took children skiing and kayaking and stuff like that. I'm not very good, but it was. I really wanted to be able to ski so I could show off.
Well,
It's never too late.
Oh?
It's never too late.
Oh, hello. Maybe it is.
and I mean, there's always been like the black ice skaters and things
yes.
like
Yeah.
that. So I mean, we've not stayed away from the
No.
cold completely, but it is just like it's not what people are up for. But then, once you get a feel for it, if that's what you like, if that's what inspires you, because there are some black people who like the cold.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not one of them.
Not one of them.
What did you say? Who?
I said I'm not one of them.
No,
Skin
no.
doesn't generally appeal to me because of the cold. However, I would definitely give it a try.
Yes, good. And it's, as you said, it's not too late. So hey.
And you're only doing it for a time as well. You're
Yeah.
only doing it for like an hour, 2 hours, and then you go and warm up and
right.
everything like that.
So you had the ski slope right by your school and you didn't go and take advantage of it. Micah, what's going on?
no,
What were you busy doing?
couldn't possibly say.
Hey, well, there you go. Oh, whatever you were doing behind the bike shed.
I wasn't
Anyway,
behind the bike shed.
so it's wonderful. So so what have you got coming up lately? Because you're a poet as well. You're a writer. Have you what have you been inspired by recently?
Well, in terms of what am I writing?
Yes.
Yeah. Last thing I wrote, because I started writing my autobiography.
Okay.
So I've written one section of it, which was the time that I was in the reggae band, the African Ambassadors. So I've written that section and put that about, see what people think. Unfortunately, the band leader passed away in May.
Oh, sorry to hear that. Was that last year?
Yeah, so I thought I'd do it's partly my autobiography, partly a tribute to him. So that's the main thing that I've written in the last few weeks. And then, looking for what 2022 brings.
And what you're going to bring to 2022? This is
Yeah,
the
that as
question.
well. That as well. That as well.
So how are you finding writing your memoir? Is it kind of cathartic? Is it kind of, are you pushing at doors that you don't necessarily want to kind of go through?
No, because I've got bits of it out there in different ways, but I never like doing linear. I never like doing a linear biography of myself. I don't mind doing things, but I don't like anybody being able to track me with the old way. So I never used to do everything in that kind of real linear fashion. But that's what, obviously I know that's what people will be looking for now. So I'm working on it, but I know
It's
it
going to
will
be
take
hard to
time.
hide now, isn't it? Let's face it.
It's out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Has it been cathartic so far? Is it how are you finding it?
It's cathartic is not the word I would use. It's just been, just thinking about things, thinking about people, thinking about, some questions you never asked when you were younger of people, and then maybe they're not around now, and you're just like, oh, I don't really know the answer to that now.
Yeah.
So it's like just thinking about things like that.
So what was it like being in a band? I hear you used to have dreadlocks. Is that right?
Yeah. I had dreadlocks, and well, that's the second band, the African Ambassadors, and we toured around mainly Scotland, and I was the drummer, backing vocalist.
Okay, cool. So you used to play at the Edinburgh Festival, of course.
We played once, yeah.
And did you ever go to the continent?
Not gigging, no. We were only together for 2 years.
Oh,
That was my next question. Do you think there'd be any possibility of regrouping?
No, everybody split. When I left, a lot of half the band left as well, like in the month or two afterwards.
Okay.
okay. So I won't ask what happened, but you can tell us if you like.
I got bored. I got bored where I was.
You got bored being in a band.
No. The business side of going round and trying to get promotion from people and always being told, go back to everything we tried to do, we were told, go back to the same gatekeepers again and again and again. And they were gatekeepers. Okay. So it's like we weren't going to go through that door.
Oh, okay.
And yeah.
Right. It's really interesting that just talking about bands, the Beatles story is on, I think it's Netflix or Apple TV or something like that. And it's really, really interesting, you know, seeing them, how they made the music. Do you like the Beatles, any of the Beatles stuff?
Yeah.
It's just absolutely amazing. What's the name of Peter Jackson, who made The Hobbit, and he's the one who's put this whole thing together. I think it's 8-part series. And it's just amazing. If you get a chance to look at it.
Will do.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah. I liked him.
Not quite the reggae ambassadors, but it's
but
just the whole idea of the synergy of how they wrote the songs. And
how a band works, how how the songwriting works. I mean, yeah.
And then you see Yoko comes in, and creates a completely different energy, and it's just so interesting. The whole idea of being in a band. Did you have lots of groupies? Is that yes?
No. Maybe other members of the band did.
Okay.
No, I'll stay focused.
To be continued.
Did you do any songwriting yourself?
Not with that band, but obviously I did my poetry. But we never did my songs.
Okay.
Because there was other songwriters in the band as well.
Wonderful. Do you write any poetry?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. You?
Sometimes I try, but not very good. We'd like to thank our guests, Kubara and Zamani. Thanks, Kubara, for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
And good luck with your poetry.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thanks for watching this episode of Caribbeans in Britain. You can subscribe to VSM TV to be kept up to date with our future editions. Technical support was provided by a man called Jay. Music by Omra Music. Caribbeans in Britain was produced by African Quest, Air 365 Events, FM Media, SB Events and Blackstock Media.